Well, hey everybody, it's HeapCVA. Welcome to my channel and welcome to the second in, I hope, many episodes of EmergeNYC. They did push a small update out today, so now we're at version 0.1.2. I'm excited about that. A little bit of change to the screens. This was a list before. It's not. I hope it goes back to that. That was a very good place to find out what's going on. Everything else is still the same. I would love for him to add a few people there so he can move a little quicker, but it's his deal and his timeline, and it's not for me to tell him what to do. So as you know, the interactive demo is still not playing. For me anyway. If it is for you, let me know. Let me know in the comments if you're experiencing something different. And I noticed all of a sudden it's not putting my player name up here. It's logging me in, I think. Well, maybe it's not. But you know, it is what it is. So anyway, you're not here to hear me jabber about stuff that you already know about. Let's talk about getting into quick play, getting in here and seeing what changes have been pushed out in this new version that are different than the old version, and see how things are going. See if he made any changes or adjustments to apparatus. I had read that he had done some adjustments on sirens and stuff like that. I know that he's got to be very careful with the sounds and names of things. Names of certain things, sounds of pieces of equipment, especially like the sirens, because if you use the name and you use the specific sound, which is actually patented, you got to write a check to get permission to use that. And boy, does that drain the checkbook really fast. And I think what he's doing is saving his money for the things that he doesn't have a choice on. FDNY, NYPD, and EMS, those kind of things where he's going to have to get permission, I think. I don't know for 100% on those acronyms, but you'll notice on the vehicles that the emblems are a little bit different, specifically because it can get pretty pricey if you start paying for permission to do everything. So if you can barely see it here, he does have the FDNY sticker on there. Maybe he got permission to do it, because I noticed he was discussing with somebody that he had didn't have rights to some of the stickers, and I don't know that that's exactly the way it is. I honestly, all of my patches and stuff from FDNY are in a box somewhere from our move, which, you know, as we live in this rental, you can't have everything here. There's no place to put it anyway. So anyway, one of the things I noticed right away is now when you move your cursor, it's not attached to your mouse until you click the center mouse button, the scrolling button, and now all of a sudden you're attached. And I like that. So it still does the thing where it kind of when you're too far away, it doesn't do what you need it to do, and I'm having to hold the button again, which didn't happen to me previously. But let's do something. We're gonna turn off the toggle for fire apparatus and toggle on police. And why am I doing that? Now this is in a debug mode, and the skins on the vehicles are pretty good. They're high quality. They probably have a lot of polygons in the model, and so they take a lot of your video card. And so you can see if I just toggle police vehicles, I'm sneaking up on 80 frames per second. If I do all of them and toggle on all of them, it goes down to like 10 FPS right away. That is going to make playing this game, especially after they start painting the exteriors, it could be challenging to do everything you want to do. So what I did is I've toggled on police vehicles, and here we are at our little stable of police vehicles parked here. We've got what to me is a Crown Vic, but he's renamed everything obviously so that he's not on the hook to pay for the rights to say a word. Looks like the police vehicles look relatively similar or the same as the police vehicles or the real stickers. So I don't know for sure because quite honestly my brain is not wired that way, and quite honestly if I'm going to forget something it's going to be little details like that. It's been I think 3 years since I've been to one of my favorite places in New York, and so honestly the last time I was there I didn't see nearly as many vehicles, especially police vehicles, as I did the time before. So either way there's enough graphics on the vehicle that nobody should complain that it's tagged wrong. Now, while we're sitting here, whoa, nice driving over there. I love the traffic and the way it acts in this game or in this demo right this minute. It will make you laugh when everything else is making you crazy. You can see here that he's starting to skin some of the buildings. Now, it disappears a little bit, but if you zoom in on it, it doesn't do that as much. And so that's a cool deal. It's not the only vehicle or building in the game. You can barely see the edge of one there. The Freedom Tower is outside of the boundaries right this minute, so it's background. You can see another building there. My guess is that's going to be very similar to the downtown area, Times Square. It remains to be seen. You can see another building showing up over there. And so he is working on it. He's not goofing off, trust me. So we fire up this Crown Vic. You'll notice something. If I hit the V button, which puts me in the driver's seat, we have a problem. Do you notice where I'm sitting? That's as close as you can get to a driver's seat. Now, I gotta give him credit for the light bar and stuff and the detail, but riding on the hood of the car is probably not what he had in mind. So obviously something that will need to be fixed over time. So really what you have to do is get a third-person view. Now you have a smart panel here, and so you have, notice that the light bars function. That's the arrow stick, so that left and right for directing traffic, or the middle. This one doesn't have the rumbler. That's RBLR. It has, it's got take down lights. It's got left and right alley lights, and an electronic horn. So if we take off, I gotta reattach myself to the car. We do get pretty good cooperation from the vehicles. This is a very easy vehicle to drive too fast. But as you can see, not too bad. See, these two are fighting it out over here, and this guy's going to clip me. So, fortunately, the curbs aren't very high here. So we're going to do that because I knew he was going to get me. So, like I said, seems to work fairly well, and it's a good way of seeing all there is to see in the demo as far as buildings that are skinned and other things. This drive through what I'm guessing may be a park. I'm not 100% sure. You definitely can't go fast unless you like getting in accidents. So we did that pretty good. There's some other vehicles here. You do skid out if you push your luck. And if you go too fast, there's a traffic accident right in front of us. See if I can get around him. I guess he is going to let me around. You can flip this thing. That's one of the things I've noticed that, and this vehicle wasn't in here before, is if you go too fast, and let's say you turn a corner, and I'll see if I can get it up to speed, and then do what I want it to do. Well, all it did was skid. That's not exactly what I wanted it to do. Oops, see, look at that. Wow. Ooh, and I buried myself right in the asphalt. Not what I wanted to do, and now I'm backwards. You can get out of shape pretty fast. And so I think it's a good demonstration of this isn't a racing game. This is what is supposed to be as close to a real life, or, you know, that, wow, flying cars. I love it. That they can do. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull him up over here. And we'll shut that off. Unfortunately, there, that turned it off. I wonder if this works. It does work. Oh, that's awesome. Now, just so you know, it only works on the police vehicles right this minute. I haven't seen them on any of the other vehicles. So I was looking for the Navajo, the Discoverer. That's what I want. See, the weird thing is it's turning them all on. I haven't driven what I would know as an Explorer. It's the vehicle I have that I drive every day. So, you know, what I'm trying to do over time as I'm playing 5 or 6 different games is drive like you would in the real. Knowing that the traffic isn't fixed yet, and that you got to stay on the brake, because you never know what the AI is going to do in this game. So you can actually go pretty quick, and if you want to cheat, you can get up here on the sidewalk and you can get pretty much anywhere you want to go in the game pretty quick. Not what I would recommend. Seeing but I didn't roll it. Not a bad thing. So anyway, let's kind of restart here. I will have to say that I would dearly love for there to be a little more toggling on the sirens in my earphone, so that if I know they're cool, but I don't want to hear them till they blow my eardrums out. So I toggled off police vehicles, and we saw those. So let's go ahead and toggle on EMS. We're going to change vehicles, go over to EMS, and we'll have a good look at what we got here. So we have an FDNY ambulance and the EMS supervisor vehicle. So that's there. I think if we pick one of these, should be a 1, 2, 3 off button for that. I wonder if it's the same for the ambulance. So 1, 2, 3. It's the same for that and off. That's pretty cool that he got that many programmed buttons to work. That's pretty neat. So St. Luke's, a little bit different ambulance. Trying to make it look like New York, where many hospitals have their own, plus some groups, and I don't have a better word for them, to be honest with you, provide their own ambulance and are part of the overall city system. Here's Freemason, downtown Manhattan, Beth Raphael. I wonder who the Raphael part of that is. I have no idea. Pretty simple graphics. And so that's it. The vehicles drive just like you would think. 1, 2. So now we have that. 3. Now we have all the lights going. To me, these are probably one of the better driving vehicles. I like this particular street because it's got most of the markings on the street already. You're seeing buildings with skins on them. Not a lot, but there are. It's just to show you that he is doing stuff. See, and we can look both ways. Got an electronic air horn. What drives me crazy is we have the green light and another vehicle will pull out in front of you. There's another vehicle building. There's one of the ambulances, the other FDNY ambulances parked. That's interesting. I don't think I got him. But I think we're going to have a Times Square-like look to downtown. You can see by the roads. It looks like something's going to go on this particular type of roadway. You can get going pretty fast. It may not be always to your benefit to do that. But I do like that he set this up this way. I don't remember there being this road in here before, so obviously he's added a little bit to it. And so it does more or less what I expect it to do. And so I knew he was going to do that, and I let him do it to me anyway. And I will tell you that if you drive too fast, you can basically get out of shape. It will kind of mess you up. They definitely are going to stay stopped for the red light. I'm kind of stuck both ways. And so what I was going to say is, if you turn too sharp, don't do it. Don't do it. See, we already got... I need better brakes, apparently. Now, I don't believe this ever happens in real life. It shouldn't, because then pedestrians have nowhere to go. And you can hit a car, but hitting a pedestrian is going to get you in a whole lot of trouble. You can go too fast. That was actually a pretty sharp turn for this vehicle. I'm used to him not having the benefit of that. You did see it there where it kind of lost traction. They're going to punish you for driving too crazy. So that's pretty much that. You know that these drive, they look pretty good. And so let me restart here. If nothing else, it's better than remembering where all the buttons are. So notice it goes right back to toggling the fire vehicles on. If we go to a given vehicle, I want to talk about this one just for a minute because of the sheer volume of stuff and its size. You know, this is the longest vehicle in the game. It's the longest vehicle in real life. One thing I've noticed is that the gas is, or the accelerator, super responsive. Is that a good thing? Not absolutely sure. All right, he moved. This one I'm finding that it makes more sense to be a little further overhead because it's very easy to run right into somebody and not even realize it. See, we barely got him. One thing I'm having a problem with though, and oh, see, that's what I was wondering if was going to happen. And then you get into this bing bong thing where it just bounces you around like a ping pong. And you know, you're stuck. Now I can try to drive over the cars, which may or may not work this time. But just to show you that we have a long way to go, but that it will make you laugh a little bit. But one thing I notice is that you really have to be careful with the response on the steering wheel for the truck. And having driven, see, he didn't pull out of the way. This is crazy, but he's just kind of stopped in the middle of the street. Not many places for me to go, but anyway, I've actually driven these in real life. I know what they're able to do and what they're not able to do. Most ladder trucks are incredibly responsive for obvious reasons. They have to be. They're too big to not. And so I would have to say, and I don't send them much in the way of letters saying, you know, do this, do that. I'm sure there's plenty of people doing that already. But I know that this ladder truck in real life is very responsive. I wish there was a way to program the tiller bucket so that if you're playing by yourself, that you don't have kind of the very stiff steering because the back isn't steering as well. I mean, I can't do both, to be honest with you. There's so much going on just in doing what I'm doing here, and there's just no way, honestly, to avoid all of the vehicles that get in your way. Now, it finally did, but I'm finding myself having to turn or punch the turn button, to me, a little too much. And to me, it needs to respond a lot better than it's responding now. So, of course, I crashed into him because it didn't stop when I was hoping it would. It just, I mean, and honestly, I played this a little earlier when I knew it was coming out, and because I honestly wanted to practice a little bit so I didn't look as bad as I did in the first video. It almost like there's been another small update that has kept the truck from being as responsive as it was earlier today. This should not be like this. I shouldn't have to punch the button 6 or 8 times. And the whatchamacallit is not working. The space button, if you look at is the handbrake. That's not a handbrake, guys. So, I mean, we're just fooling around with this, honestly. That's all we get to do. And so, I know there's so many things that need to be done. So many things that need attention. So many things that need adjustment. That's why it's not going to happen today. What I do like, though, and see, he's just sitting here, but yet he's I think I got him out. Yes, I did. Okay. So as we look, the outrigger's out. Sorry. I thought there was other outriggers. The other side. I can't tell from here because I can't necessarily move. But, you know, I wish I had a better all right. Now, what am I doing? That's up and down. I got that. But Q. All right. Well, that's what I get for not looking. So we have extend and lower ladder and then retract. So Q and E. That's what I was screwed up on. There we go. Now we're talking. Now, one thing I know, and I would love to have a little more of a view to make sure that this is actually getting done correctly. So, because you actually have to get out of the truck and see, because you don't have that view, you don't 100% know where that ladder's going, and so you're out here basically in the street to get far enough away from it. Little touchy on the I think we're as extended as we're going to get. So that's where we're going right here. Now we just went through the building, and as you can see, I can go right through the building. I hope he creates some kind of a stop so that that doesn't do that. That was the most pathetic management of an aerial ladder I've ever performed. And I'm embarrassed. But it is what it is. Now, one of the things would be nice is if I could remember where see, this is where the truck company was. I always pull out and look both ways, and then undo that just so I don't pull out and then get clipped right away. See, he's not going to pull over. That's fine as long as he stays put. This is interesting because I've never done the zigzag with these guys before. Usually they pull, most of them pull to the right. A lot of them are just stopping in the middle of the street. It's like real life. So I'm a little ways away from where I wanted to be. See, in that, again, guys, I know how fire trucks should drive. I'm not calling myself an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying that, you know, maybe things are different in different jurisdictions, but honestly, both as an apparatus operator and as the company officer, having somebody else do my driving while I'm riding in the jump seat or the shotgun, these engines turn pretty sharp. They have to. Or could you imagine how hard it would be to get from point A to point B? Oops. Sorry about that. That's going to happen a lot. If you couldn't do that, if you couldn't get it to turn sharp enough to get through traffic. See, now I had pushed the D button and really sluggish as far as responding. Whoops, I think I just dumped all my equipment out the compartment doors. Let's see if I can find that other company. He's right there. I did figure that out. See, I shouldn't have to do that, guys. I mean, people may disagree with me. I'm kind of curious what other people think. Let me know in the comments. So, you know, pretty much that's where we are with this game. We have the ability to have let's see, if I untoggle them, then I can't move them. So if I get a discoverer, which I don't know why I'm over here. Whew. I'm sitting upside down on the hood. All right. That's better. We're too far away. We kind of lost ourselves there. So if I do this, we shouldn't have to go too far, should we? Not much in the way of lights, though. How are we supposed to block traffic? Does he have a... He doesn't really have an arrow stick, so... I mean, it is what it is. But, I consider... Now, maybe a different... keyboard is not quite as sensitive. I have a Corsair keyboard. Honestly, don't know which one it is. It's the big one with the number pad and the G buttons, 18 G buttons. So, so I don't know if there's a difference. Like I said, I think we all should be talking about how the game is playing for each of us, so that we can kind of exchange information, so that by the time this thing comes out in a fuller sense, that we're all pretty good at understanding the controls. A lot of buttons to be pushed because it's the sheer volume of things that need to be done. Now, as far as, sorry, I don't mean to be spinning you around making you motion sick. Not really sure what this thing is doing. Looks like it his ability to do some custom work on this without any, and I haven't gone to his site yet to see if he's discussed this or he's explained what it is. Shame on me for not doing that, and I apologize. I will get back to you with what that exactly is. But with that said, and don't you hate it when I say that? I'm getting tired of saying it. I think we've done enough for one evening. We've crashed an aerial truck. We've slapped a bunch of cars with every vehicle that we can drive in this game so far. We've had lots of traffic. I don't know why there's no... that's not what I wanted. I meant, where's the back button? You know, life could be a lot worse. We're doing the best we can with what we got. Driving police cars isn't exactly my deal. I don't even think I own a game, with the exception of 911 First Responders / Emergency 4, where you even call a police incident or vehicle to a scene. But I think we're keep taking little baby steps in the right direction. The goal, I think, for him was to release the vehicles to show you the opportunities, which you're going to have opportunities to drive. And then we will flesh out what each of those vehicles gets to do. I know that you can be an EMS guy, you can be a police officer, you can be a firefighter, or any number of people on each of in those departments doing specific things based on the incident. If that really is what it's going to be, this game is going to be really busy, and you're going to have to be very skilled at pushing a lot of buttons to get things done. I don't have a problem with that. It's just something to think about in my head. So, everything said and done. Thanks so much for coming by my channel and checking out another video. I'm excited to see you here. If you're new, welcome. If you've been around for a while, hope you're doing well. Appreciate you coming back. Just remember, hit that like button, leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys. And at the end of the day, consider subscribing. It's one of the few things left in life that's still free, basically. And I'll get to work on making this into a video and get this up today. And all I can tell you is, again, I hope you're having a good day or good night wherever you're on the planet. And I'll talk to you later.